Well, hello and welcome to episode 1. This is so exciting. Of our podcast. I don't know. And that's the actual title, by the way. I'm not saying that I don't know what this is. That is our actual title of our podcast. I don't know. My name is Jackie. I am 36 years old. I'm just going to intro myself here. Born and raised SoCal. And I have with me my beautiful co-host, Sana. Sana, say hello to the people.
Hello, I'm Sana. I am 30 years old. I am born and raised in beautiful Southern California. I work in the real estate industry, and I'm super excited to be here. So let's get into it.
Yes. So first off, how did we meet, right? Because what's the backstory? Why are both of you doing this? Or who are you both, I guess? Kind of how do you know each other? So Sana and I met when we both worked for Nordstrom as wedding stylists back in the day. How many years ago was that?
That was about 10 years ago, and I want to say that I literally changed Jackie's life. She saw me, and her life changed.
It really did. With me and my little sock bun.
That's how Jackie the sock bun. But no, literally her life changed. Everything.
My life did change.
She went from Jackie the sock bun to Jackie, who is she?
Jackie as we know her today.
As we know her today.
No, but yeah, we've known each other for, close to 10 years, I think, which is really cool. And so we've always kind of, talked about creative outlets, things to do, right? I think we're both creative people, and I think we kind of threw around the idea of a podcast here and there, and then we decided to finally do it, which is super exciting. It's very exciting. But because we've known each other for so long, it's kind of cool to get each other's perspectives of how much we've grown. When I met Sana, I was 27, and you were 21. You were just about to turn 21.
I was about to turn 21. Yeah, I think I was
a baby.
I was like a month before 21.
Yes, because I got hired in like April, May or something. And you got hired like right after me.
I got hired June 4th. Happy birthday, Jen. And
that's right. Jen, if you're listening, hello. Jen brought us together, really. So
we owe you this, Jen.
We do. Yeah, dedicated to Jen. No, but that's, we were just, I was still very young, 20s. 27, but still 20s. And you were very young, barely 21, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, so no, super exciting. Super excited to be here doing something different, creative. We're happy to have all of the listeners, all three.
Thank you, my mom. I appreciate you.
Thank you, my mom. And maybe some random person we don't know.
So, Jackie, why don't you tell us what this podcast is about? Or actually, better yet, how did we come up with the name?
Ooh, the name. Okay. So, again, as we talked about, we had always thrown around the idea of starting a podcast because, again, creative outlet. And really, just honestly, like 2 weeks ago, I was laying out trying to get a tan. I burned, just so everyone knows. I didn't tan, I burned. It did transition to a tan. Anyway, not that you need to know that, but anyway, so I was laying there though, and I was listening to another podcast that I listen to a lot, called Almost Adulting, with Violet Benson. She's great. I really enjoy her podcast. And I was thinking about like, wow, if Sana and I did do a podcast, like what would be the name? And I think the name kind of always like, for me, I think for you too. For me, I get stuck. And then because I don't have a name, I'm like, well, forget it. Let's just move on. But no, it came to me very quickly. And I thought to myself like, oh, we would title it, I don't know. Because I think we always talk about that. That's like a phrase we always use when we talk to each other. And it's kind of one of those like verbal cross your fingers type thing. So if something doesn't work out, it's like the LOL equivalent whenever we talk to each other and we're telling each other some kind of maybe harsh truth or maybe something that's a little bit not so great. We're always like, LOL. I'm sure everyone does that with their friends. So then I thought like that would be a great title because honestly, we really don't know.
We don't know. So you can take our advice. We're going to give you great advice. But if things don't go right, I don't know.
Basically, if things go well, please give us credit. But if they don't go well, you thought of it on your own.
You thought of it on. We don't know.
We don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know.
It's unsolicited, unlicensed advice. So
but great. Nonetheless,
but
great advice.
But still helpful, I think.
Definitely.
I think helpful, for sure.
So, Jackie, why did we start this podcast?
Why did we start this podcast? Which is a great question. So, I mean, really, I always do things for food, and I thought that there's going to be snacks. So
you know what? You're right, Caesar. Where are the snacks?
Caesar,
I'm done.
I'm done.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. We're done.
If Caesar's not here next time, it's because we split over creative differences,
and there were no snacks. Yeah, you're right.
JK, just kidding. No. So I started it. Well, I wanted to start it with you because I like being creative. I like having a creative outlet. I think it's been a really long time since I've had anything that has challenged me differently. Honestly, I think since college. Obviously within work, there's always like little challenges and seasons of challenge. But I think the last time I really put like effort and energy into something and consistently have done that was college. And I enjoy that. I really do. And I enjoy being creative and also just I feel like I have some stuff to say. No, but I have things to say, right? I have opinions. I think sometimes my opinions are very unique. We're both, right, women of color, both from brown communities, different brown.
Very different.
Different browns, but still brown community. And which I don't think you really kind of have a lot of that representation. Not that I am... Again, I'm one of those people that I'm not defined by my race or my skin color, but still it has significance, right? It holds significance and you still want to have a voice. And I'm also a person of faith. And so again, my mindset and the way that I view things is much different, I think, than the general population. But yeah, I just wanted to do something different, challenge myself in a different way. Again, we've always talked about any of our conversations like, wow, this would make a great podcast. Again, that's from our perspective.
Yeah, we think we're hilarious.
We think we're really funny. Which is,
I think you guys will agree, but we'll see.
All three of you.
All three. My mom.
Agree.
Thanks, Anita.
Yeah. Susan thinks I'm a gem.
You are a gem.
I am a gem. Thank you for saying that. No, but yeah, I just wanted to do something creative and get things out there. And like, I love to journal, right? I'm a huge advocate for journaling and like letting your emotions out and your thoughts and your ideas. And so I think this is a way to do it. So, yeah, I just want to do something different. And obviously, like, if it goes somewhere big, that would be great. But that's not the goal. The goal is really just to do something creatively. So honestly, if all we ever get is 5 listeners, 2 of them are our moms, excellent, great.
We're happy.
We're happy. It doesn't matter. It's just about doing something. But what is it for you? Why did you want to start
I
this?
agree with a lot of what you've said. You know, in my long 30 years of life, I feel like I've experienced a lot. I've gone through a lot of unique experiences, whether it has to do with friendships, relationships, family expectations, family pressure. I do come from the South Asian background, so I understand what it feels like to not want to fit into the mold that your parents want and wanted to break away from that, you know, and more of it with healing, mental health, fitness, and a healthy lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to share that from my childhood to about like 20 years old. I was probably 50 pounds heavier than I am right now. Yeah. And, you know, actually, Caesar, throw in the clip of
the before and after.
I've actually never shared this with people. So
this is kind of big.
It's kind of big. So for me, let's throw up the clip.
Yeah, the before and after.
The before and after.
Damn. Damn in a good way. Because you had a solid glow up.
Solid. You know,
because I was there for it.
You were there. You've seen me from before to after, 100%. Yeah. And if anybody knows, if you go through this transition, you know it takes dedication, hard work, and damn willpower. It is not easy. And, you know, I know what it feels like to be insecure, to be the girl that is not getting attention, to not feel comfortable in your skin. I mean, like I said, I come from a South Asian background. Every single one of my cousins was like a stick figure. Yeah. So you can only imagine how brutal that was for me growing up. So going from...
and your mom is gorgeous.
My mom is gorgeous. I grew up with guys always being like, your mom, but not about me. which is a weird thing to deal with, right? Because
Your mom's really hot. You're like, but I'm here too.
It's so weird because I'm the young one.
And they're like, you're cute. Like pinches your fat cheek and walks away.
Literally. So I know what that feels like, and I went from that of being a person of who so would cry at family events, being so emotional, being able to, anybody can say anything to me and I would be breaking down, to being so mentally strong, flipping a switch, being the most confident person, so secure within myself, and just happy in who I am. And if I can help others achieve this, I would love that.
Yeah. No, it's huge, right? Because I think it's really funny because I think when you see people, obviously you already have those automatic assumptions, right? And I think seeing you, like, you're stunning, you're gorgeous. And so I think looking at you, though, everyone would think like, oh, like, look at her, like, pretty privilege, right? She's always been this way, or she's probably never had to deal with any of the insecurities that larger girls, right, like myself, like, have ever dealt with. Or, oh my gosh, she's probably always had guys falling at her feet or flocking to her. She's always probably been confident, and yeah, sure, like, everyone has insecurities, but that is not the case.
That is not the case. I really had to figure out a way to not figure out a way, but just gain that confidence and that flip a switch, where, in the sense where I will not give people the power to make me feel a certain way. And I think when you're able to attain that, it is so good, so nice, because nobody should have that. Nobody should be able to say something to you and it affect you. You know, you need to learn to be happy within your skin and confident. I'm not going to say it's 100% because of my, weight loss, because a lot of people do lose weight and still face these things, insecurities and all of that.
Very true. That's
it's
actually,
a mindset.
I think that's actually a common misconception, is that you think that you're going to lose weight and your life is going to change. That all of a sudden the confidence is going to come. You're just going to be so happy. The happiness will come. And I've heard it said multiple times that you can still find happiness at any stage, right? Because it has to do with acceptance and just, again, just that confidence, right? But yeah, everyone expects when you lose weight that, like, oh my God, if I lost weight, everything would change for me. But yeah, not the case sometimes, though. It's really a mind shift.
It's a mind shift. You have to get into that sense, because really nobody should be able to affect your emotions. I mean, I know it's so hard to get to.
Yeah.
But that is the way to truly be happy. Like, you cannot be a person that gets offended by things and all of that, because why give someone the power to make you feel some that way? Like, there's no reason.
Yeah. No, and and this is honestly kind of touching on things that we'll talk about over the course of the podcast. Like, honestly, this is kind of the type of topics that we want to talk about, and from different perspectives, from people of different communities, backgrounds, right? Because ultimately, like, it's getting very philosophical, but, like, we're all human, right? And we're all part of, like, the human experience, and we all kind of share some of the same trials and tribulations. But yeah, like, what we want to talk about here, right, with the podcast is just health, fitness, emotional, mental wellness, dating.
Dating's a big one.
Dating's a big one. We're both single, by the way. But just, and again, kind of just how your past affects your future, how your past experiences kind of maybe dictated how you operated, right, as you got older, or how things change and then you change with it. Like, there's a whole, so many episodes, honestly.
No, I completely agree. We're going to dive into all of it.
But no, I think that ultimately, though, we wanted to start a podcast because I think that we both have unique views. We both have shared some of the same struggles. We both have had different struggles. Again, shared human experience, but just different perspectives. Yeah. And also, which is super exciting, is that we are now in the same age bracket once again.
Finally.
Sana has just turned 30, whereas I'm here. I'm an established member.
You're a resident.
I'm on the board.
You're on the board.
I have a jacket.
You're on the HOA. You're the president of the HOA.
I'm the president of the HOA of the 30s at this point. But no, Sana just turned 30, which we celebrated her birthday in Vegas, which is super fun. That was such a great weekend.
Honestly, I've been to Vegas so many times, and not just because it was my birthday, but that was the best Vegas trip I've ever had.
Yes, because Sauna's like playground, Sauna's hangout was Vegas during her 20s. I swear, not every single weekend, but almost every single weekend, it was like, oh, I'm going to Vegas. I'll be like, oh, wait, no, Sauna, you're not going to be here. No, I'm going to Vegas. And it was constant Vegas, Vegas, Vegas. So we thought, what a better place to close out her 20s and start a new chapter.
It was definitely full circle.
It really was.
It was symbolic.
Very symbolic. It was very, just like,
in my fashion, it was done bougie because,
of course,
I don't do anything non-bougie.
Just so everyone knows, moving forward for all three fans, Sauna is a very bougie person.
Bougie too. We have our limits,
obviously.
But if I'm gonna throw something, it has to be done nice.
Sauna's we're both very aesthetic people. Everything just kind of has to be just on point. We only the only reason why we're limited is because of our budget.
Sugar daddies, GoFundMe, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, whatever you want. You can find me. You can find on all apps. It's my name, so it's very simple. No, but it was such a great time though, and we really we lived it up. We partied it up. We said goodbye to the 20s and hello to the 30s. So how's it? I feel like it's a big 30s is like kind of a big step because 30s is like you are finally an adult. Because I feel from my perspective, 20s is you think you're an adult, but you really are not. And I think, again, like you're thrust into adulthood. So you're kind of trying to navigate it and trying to figure out how to be an adult. But then your 30s, I think you are actually truly solidified as an adult. Like you get the jacket, right? And you go through the initiation ceremony. So as you come out of your 20s into your 30s, like what's your general overall feeling about it? Like, where are you at? So I'm going to be very real. Initially, when it came to being 30, I was very anxious just because right before I turned 30, I got out of a 3.5-year relationship. So, especially coming from a South Asian background, it's like, wow, you're 30, you're single, you're not married, you're still figuring this out. So I did, not that my parents were pressuring me, but just internally, I had that pressure where it's like, I'm taking this leap of faith thinking that, let's just see what happens because the current situation wasn't working for me. So I didn't want to stay comfortable. I wanted to do what felt right for me. And for me, taking that leap of faith felt right. So I was very anxious into like, what the hell am I doing? People think 30s is time to get married, time to start a family. And I'm like, well, 30s, it's time to be single. So time to party. So that's literally what I did. But let me tell you, you're so right when it comes to being adulthood, because every person told me, hey, the closer you get to 30, your mindset changes, the way you think changes. And I was like, I don't believe you. But no, really, who I was 5 years ago and who I am now. So different. It's so different. And you can attest to that because you've seen me from 20 years old to now 30. It's kind of crazy because, granted, I caught you at the end of your 20s, but I feel like end up being 20 years old. Yeah. Sorry. Caesar, edit that out. Make me sound smart. But from all the way through, like I have seen you through everything of your 20s, and now heading into your 30s, and it's so true. Very different. Very different. And I'm honest. I was so apprehensive and just like kind of nervous, but I'm not just saying this to saying this. I'm literally having the time of my life right now. Like whether it's I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm traveling, I'm focusing on my career goals, passions. And it's been so fun that I would say from my last 3-4 years, even let me go start back to 5 years. Like I feel like I have more energy, more life. Like I have friends tell me like, you have a glow to you now. And it's like, I'm so happy. Yeah. And I'm so excited. I've been finding some gray hairs. It's like turn 30 gray hair. I'm telling you, you're going to sneeze wrong one day and your back is going to be out for 2 days. I'm not looking forward to that part, but so far it's been solid and I'm so excited to see what's to come because I feel like my mindset, my wants, I know what I want. Yeah. Everything is so different now. So I'm excited to just be on this journey. Yeah. Just be a little bit more confident in life.
Because I think there's a difference between like, oh, just being confident in who you are, right? But then being confident in life and what you want and what you're focused on and where you're putting your energy, right? What's worth your energy.
100%.
Kind of all that stuff. I would agree with that. I think that when I turned 30, it's been a minute, but no, I think like in your 30s, it does, your mindset starts changing and you just start kind of, you know how like when they talk about how like older people, the elderly, just kind of like don't give a shit anymore about anything. I think that starts in your 30s.
No, I completely agree. Because if you would have, I was like, even 5 years ago, what my wants and like what I cared about.
Yeah.
Now I'm not putting up for that now.
Yeah.
Why should I?
Right. Well, also even just like what you care about. Right.
Yeah.
And like where you're going to put your energy. Right. Whereas like maybe in your 20s, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, maybe you start falling into this whole like get money and I need to do this and I want to do that and like I want to, but it's more so just for looks, right? Yeah. It's for show. Whereas now you're like, I don't like give a shit. Like I want money, but like I need to invest. I need to think about retirement.
All these things,
you know, just like actual like true adulthood things, basically.
No, I think that was a big thing because I think 20s. I mean, as you know, I had a lot of fun.
Yes.
I that was my way of 20s, have fun.
Have fun.
But 30s, I enter 30s, I'm like, wow, I got to be serious. It's not cute anymore.
It's not cute anymore.
To do what I was doing in my 20s is suddenly not cute.
Yeah, all of a sudden it looks desperate.
It looks desperate. 30s. What is this girl doing?
Yeah, like this is sad. Like this girl needs to get it together.
Yeah. So I'm together. Yes. Don't worry.
Well, debatable. But anyway, no. And I know you talked about dating, which is obviously going to be a pretty prevalent topic on this podcast, I would say, because, you know, we're both single. Like, again, you were talking about getting out of a long-term relationship. So where are you at then, I guess, with dating? You're back on the streets.
Back on the streets.
Sauna's back on the street.
Feel free to DM me. I'm just kidding. Don't DM me unless you're serious.
JK, don't do that. Unless, well, maybe. But no, but so how are you feeling about, like, are you dating? Are you just, like, taking time for yourself? Like, what does that look like for you right now?
You know, I would say, so we've been broken up for 4 months. And I would say in the 4 months, it's been a lot of growing. Not that, you know, coming out of the dating scene in your 30s is a big difference. I mean, I already knew it was going to be bad. I mean, not that it was stopping me from becoming single, but I already knew. I was like, the other side's not looking pretty, but I'm about to take a leap of faith. Yeah. Even though I know it's going to suck.
Yeah.
So yes, I have gone out with a few people. I've done that. I'm not on dating apps. I'm not currently actively looking. If something comes my way, so be it.
Right.
But I'm so into the mentality of focusing on myself, doing things that make me happy, to the point where, as harsh as it sounds, like if you want to be with me, you're gonna have to add value. Like,
yes,
I'm not gonna entertain pointless, meaningless conversations. I'm not gonna entertain the games. I'm not gonna entertain being an option. If you truly want to be with me and you need to pursue me, I don't have time for that. Yeah. I'm so content with who I am that it's to the point where it's, if nothing happens, I'm truly fine being single.
Yeah.
But if a good partner is out there who's going to match or be better, I'm so open to it. So it's more like, would I like somebody? Sure. Do I need somebody? No.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Which is like probably the best type of, I guess, attitude to have about it is that, do I want one? Sure. But do I need one? No. Like, I feel like, do you remember like Jerry Maguire?
Jerry Maguire.
We're
quoting Jerry Maguire now.
And that scene, I think I saw it like once and I've never seen it again. But that scene where he tells Renee Zellweger, like, you complete me. And I think for a really long time, everyone thought that was like, oh my God, that was like the most romantic scene. That was like the most romantic thing a man could say to a woman, you know, or, you know, anything. And it was just like, actually, that's really toxic. And that's incredibly immature. Because, you know, like, as you mentioned, just like, you know what you want, like you're focused on, you know, you, and like, if it happens, it happens, which I think is like a great attitude and a great position to take because, you know, like, obviously I was privy to the breakup and all the details, like, which we obviously won't get into. But most people, and I think you would agree, most people run, right? Like because it is
comforting.
Because it is a dumpster fire out here.
It
Not
is
gonna
dumpster
lie.
fire.
0 out of 10 would not recommend dating
Like maybe
right
if you
now.
live in like Minnesota, sorry to the Minnesotans, but like,
Don't insult
okay, I'm not
our
trying
Minnesota
to.
friend.
What, if you're one of my 3 followers, I'm very sorry. But if you're from SoCal, any girl, and I know the guys are going to be like, well, the girls are like this too. But like any guy, it's either a series of, I don't want to commit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm looking for. It's just their mentality is every swipe is going to be something better.
Yes,
and
that
that's
gambling
the
mentality.
gambling, and that's
the slot machine mentality.
and that's a big reason why I'm not on dating apps, because
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. I know what I bring to the table, and if you don't see it, then
That's
goodbye. I'm fine without
Bye.
you. Bye.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's what it brings me back to my point of like, again, I know you don't complete me. I am a whole person, which I think is a very like needs to happen, especially after a breakup. I mean, you just need to be doing that in general, right?
Agree.
You need to be looking at yourself and constantly working towards yourself. And again, the podcast that I was listening to, Almost Adulting, she just recently had on a guest, Patty Stanger, I think it's Stanger, the $1 Million Matchmaker. She had a show on Bravo. She had said, like, you shouldn't be asking, or you shouldn't be, I guess not asking, but you shouldn't have things on a list that you want in a partner if you are not yourself, which I thought was incredible. And it's very, very true. And I think a lot of people don't take the time, though, to work on themselves. Like, if you want somebody that's communicative, right, and that, is emotionally mature, emotionally stable, knows what they want out of life, but are you? Like, are you doing that? Are you, again, self-betterment, right? Like, are you going to therapy? Which, by the way, side note to everyone, go to therapy.
which is so funny because when anybody sends me like sometimes guys will be like, here's my car, here's what I have.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, Jackie, this guy, like, roll eye.
You're like,
and I'm not impressed by that shit.
No,
but
I'm not either.
But
I'm not either.
Jackie's like, show me your therapy bill.
Yes, I always say,
I don't care about your Lamborghini. Show me your therapy bill.
Yes, I always say, I don't care if you don't show me your car. Don't show me anything that's like flashy, right? Like your clothes, your watches, anything that's just kind of disposable, right? If I want to see anything, it's 2 things. I want to see your balance sheet, right? Because I really want to see the asset to debt ratio. And then second, I want to see your therapy bills. Like, have you started working on yourself?
Yeah.
And are you even in that mindset? Because here's the thing, everyone can use therapy.
100%. And I think the problem is when people, not just people that get over breakups, people in general, they look for that comfort. People are not don't want to be in the uncomfortable zone.
Yes.
And I don't think they realize, like, I am so happy being by myself, and it's so powerful being that way.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to take the time to achieve that. They want to just be like, well, let me fill that void of having someone there.
Right.
To get to that mentality where it's like, I only want someone there to add value, but not just for comfort, is a big thing.
Yes.
Like, that's when you find happiness. I feel like when people go from relationship to relationship, it never works out because you never work on you.
Yeah. It's like that eat, pray, love mentality.
But they don't eat, pray, and love.
Right.
They just love and love.
Right. But that's the thing. Like in Eat, Pray, Love, she like says like, oh, I've been with a guy since I was 15. Right. So that's her whole thing is like, I'm going to go on this journey. Right. I'm going to eat, I'm going to pray, I'm going to love, which is really honestly like no hate to the movie. But it's really kind of stupid, and like no hate to this. Like, I know it's based on a real story of like this woman's like her whole pursuit, but also like it ends with like love, and it's like, that's not the point. The point is to find yourself. And the point is to like go on this journey without anybody, and also being okay if it doesn't end in love, which is hard. I'm going to be very, very honest.
It's hard.
Like from my perspective, right? Like as far as like my I guess experience with dating, 36. I mean, you know this, but fun fact for the listeners. All three listeners. I've never had a committed relationship. I've never been in a committed relationship. I've never had a boyfriend. And which I think there are actually a lot of people out there that have never had a boyfriend. We're
in the era of situationships.
Yes. Which we all know.
I've been in like more situationships than boyfriends. I understand.
I've had long situationships, or whatever. I guess sometimes it would just basically be defined as a situationship. But no, and I think that's I think there are a lot of people actually out there that have not, a lot of women out there that have not had like, right, a boyfriend, or, have had any romantic interest really. And I mean, I've dated, right? Like, I think I started like actively dating, like doing the apps and all that stuff, like probably for about, like 7 years, I think. And again, 0 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend.
Don't recommend. If you're not from SoCal, recommend. SoCal? I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but you boys know what the hell you're doing. So.
No, they do. No, men know what they're doing. They're do and they don't. Serious. Like, they're not. And that's, I mean, honestly, I think.
You know what? Not that I want to get into this topic right now, because we're going to get into it. Yes. A lot of these guys want validation. Yes. And they want to see what girl they can pull. Yes. But they don't want to do anything about it.
Yes. I mean, again, because you're privy to all the stupid shit that happens in my life. That's literally where I'm at, right? Like, close to 5-year situationship with someone. And again, not like full situationship, like we never did anything physical, like we never slept together or anything like that. Like we had like 1 or 2 kisses or something.
It's like an emotional situation.
It's an emotional situationship, which is, I think,
worse.
The argument could be made that it's worse than an actual physical situationship, especially for women. Because women, we are driven, right? Yeah. We are driven by our emotions. And that's kind of where our heart truly lies, right? And then the physical is just kind of the manifestation of our emotional. Whereas men, right? Physical is primal for them. That's why they can like literally hit it and quit it, because it's primal. Not that it's not primal in us, but again, emotions, right? It's different. So, just dealing with that. I know that all too well. If you're listening and you have found yourself in a stupid situation where you have given yourself emotionally to someone for close to 5 years, keep listening.
DM us, email us. Not that I've been in that, but Jackie will get back to you.
Oh, I'll get back to you, because I am now at the end of it, right? Like, I know, again, we've talked about that. But no, I mean, ultimately, I think dating across the board, no matter where you are, maybe it's better in other places. I don't even know about if it's significantly better, maybe just like a few percentage points better. But no, I think overall dating in general, and I think a lot of people would agree, men and women both, right? But from like our female perspective, it's a dumpster fire.
It's hard.
It's very, very hard. It's very hard because, again, getting back to what you said about that emotional validation, that's what a lot of guys want, right? But they don't want to put in the effort of an actual relationship. And
well, that's because they're too focused on the next swipe is better. They're too focused. I'm going to find a hotter girl. I'm going to find a better girl. I'm going to find and that's the problem coming to Southern California is there's tons of beautiful women. You're one of many. It's not, unfortunately, there are tons of beautiful women, but not tons of beautiful men. So it's different.
We got the short end of the stick.
The big short end. I don't know, freaking New Hampshire, here I come. But
Rhode Island,
Maine. I don't know.
If anyone's out there, tell us if the dating scene is better. We
recently saw a video that said actually, California is not on the list of hottest people of men and women.
It's not. That's right. You shared that video with me.
I shared
on
it,
TikTok. And it was not on there.
It's not on there.
Which is very surprising.
Connecticut is on there. So if you see me move to Connecticut,
if we are now coming to you live from Connecticut, you'll know why. It's because the boys are hotter out there.
Because they're not here, apparently.
No. But also, remember, more attractive doesn't necessarily mean more open.
I don't want a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is trouble.
No, 10 out of 10, he's a hoe.
He's a hoe. I'm down with a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10's, you know where to find me.
Yeah. 7 out of 10, 6, 8, anyway.
6 is
anything above 8.
7 plus.
Don't contact me. Because you a hoe. No, and this is something that we'll get more into again, just because this has been a big part of our experience of our 20s. And again, as shared experience, but unique perspective,
Very
which, again, you talking about being in a long-term relationship, and you are monogamous. Like you are a monogamous person. Like I don't think like
I'm too loyal for my own good. Like maybe I should stop being loyal because it's for my it's too like no, it's a problem.
These hoes ain't loyal.
These hoes ain't loyal.
Sana is though.
Sana is though, but
no, I think a lot of women. I don't know, and that's again another episode that we could look into is like, are women just innately loyal, but then they're driven to not be based off of bullshit actions by men and the stupidity, right? And the emotional immaturity. Or, these hoes just ain't loyal.
These hoes ain't loyal. I'm going to go with these hoes ain't loyal.
These hoes ain't loyal. No, but we do really have a lot to discuss about, again, dating, childhood trauma, how that plays.
Back to dating, I do want to say, for one, coming from the Desi community, like, coming back to my 3.5-year ex, I come from a very rare, and I don't think it's as rare now, but rare for that generation. My mom is Gujarati Hindu Indian, and my dad is Punjabi Pakistani Muslim. So I come from parents of different ethnicities and different religions. So you can only imagine maneuvering that. So when it came to dating, well, not even when it came to dating, when people would ask me, like, what are you? And what I would tell them, they'd be like, how did that work? And I'm always like, well, it didn't. And seeing those reactions is always so funny because you go from like, oh, how did that work to like, well, it didn't. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, like, it's totally fine. Like,
they feel like such the asshole for asking.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, it's totally fine. Like, my parents get along. We have like a happy family. Like, there's no drama.
They've been married for 40 years. Like, something, and you're like, no, they got divorced.
It's so funny seeing that switch when you tell them like, well, it didn't. And they're like, I'm like, no, we're fine.
We're fine.
But, okay. Obviously, rightfully so when it came to dating, my mom was like, I want you with a Indian guy. Indian, Hindu, Sikh, nothing Muslim, just because of her past experiences, which I understand. Right. So, of course, me being the rebel I am. Not that this was intentional, but my ex was Pakistani Muslim. And it was a big issue for my mom. And I'm very close to my mom. So it did, it did affect me. But it was a battle I was willing to fight for.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people go through this in the community, and the difference with our generation is that we're much more open-minded. We're not as religious. Yeah. It's just very different from our parents. And I understand fighting that battle. So if anybody is going through that, please feel free to DM me, email me, anything, because I've been through that. I fought that battle. Everything ended up being okay.
Right.
But I know what it feels like to not have that approval and it bother you and have that negativity and all those things. And if I can help in any way, you know where to find me.
Yeah. No, but it's true though. And I think it's something that is, I don't know, maybe it is, but I feel like it's not really widely known about your community, right? And just kind of that parental pressure, right? Yeah. Of what you quote unquote like can bring home and what you can't. And really how that plays into things, right? Because again, just with your community, like very close, right? Really tight knit, but the familial ties are very, like they're very strong.
Very.
And so, and again, you have generation after generation after generation always doing what their parents told them, right? And knowing that like, nope, mom and dad are not going to be okay with this, or, grandparents are not going to be okay with this. So I can't do that. Right. And then you have someone or your generation, right? Someone like yourself. I know you have friends, right, that are kind of in the same situation of like, well, like, I don't want to like go against my family, but it's also like, it's 2022.
We're different.
Like
we're not, our mentality is so much more open-minded than not my parents per se. Well, my dad, but like most of them did not, like they grew up there.
Right.
But we grew up here.
Right.
So our mentality is so different. And I know it's so hard to get them to understand that.
Yeah. And it's hard to get them to understand that, like, really by kind of all accounts, you're American.
really the
You
word.
know, like, yes, like your heritage, right, or nationality or whatever you want to call it. The word's escaping me, but like, yes, your lineage, right, lies in these roots. But like, really, you are like American. And I know that can have a lot of different connotations. Like, well, what does it mean to be American and blah, 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 blah. But I'm talking about like in the sense of like you were raised in, you know, United States and then in California and then in Southern California. So it's just kind of like that has all impacted you. And I feel like I don't know, I feel like maybe parents don't understand the impact of that.
They don't. And I think, you know, I'm lucky to have the family I have, and not that I didn't fight the battle with my mom, but just the open-mindedness.
Yeah,
because it was still tough, don't get me wrong.
It was tough.
It was tough. I would tell you about it,
Yeah.
all of these things, but I know people are facing this much worse than I was.
Oh yeah.
So if I can be of any insight, but you know, it's different generation, but
It is.
I think if you continue to fight the battle, like they will see the light. I think people are afraid to fight it, but if it,
well, yeah, because it comes off as like you are just you're going against the family, you know, and it's just like, why are you? And it's also, I think, from their perspective, which I mean, it makes sense. I'm not saying that they're right, but I get from their perspective, it's kind of just like you are shirking everything we taught you. You're shirking. You're just. You don't want to be, I don't know, you're denying your lineage, your tradition, like all of that. And it's like, no, it's not that. Like that really, it really is not that. It's not, they see it as rejection, whereas you're trying to see it as acceptance. Yeah. And you're trying to get them to see it like as acceptance, and all they see is rejection. So, you know, those traditional like values or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll deep dive into this at an episode, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people in the community face this just because culturally we're very similar.
Yes.
Religiously we're very different.
Yeah.
And I know it crosses, especially our generation, it crosses. I have so many friends that are Hindu dating Muslim, Hindu dating Sikh, vice versa, like whatever it may be.
Right.
But it is something to talk about.
No, it is.
Because I don't think a lot of, not that I'm saying I have like these extreme like rebellious like balls, but like a lot of people are afraid to do it. And I'm someone who has gone through it. So
yeah,
you want to, you know,
but I mean, but it's tough, right? Because it's like, how do you, because
navigate
and how do you navigate it? And also your family, and again, within your community, right? That just family bonds and family ties are very, 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 very strong. It is very, you know, you're, I don't want to say like everyone's in everyone's business, but kind of everyone's in everyone's business.
I mean,
you know,
somehow somebody from the East Coast knows what everybody's doing in Southern California.
Yes.
Everybody, if you're a Patel, if you're a Singh, if you're anybody, everybody knows what everybody's doing.
Yeah, everyone knows. But that's the thing. It's just kind of like, so now you really, I feel like it's a very, My Big Fat Greek Wedding vibes. When her dad's just like, you know, so against it. And it just, you know, like, you're not marrying a Greek guy, and you know he has to get like baptized in the Greek Orthodox.
It's like that because what's crazy within our community is like we have people that are so backwards that it's like, even though you're Indian, I want you to marry a specific damn Indian. So it goes that deep into it.
Yeah.
And I know for people like their parents don't understand that. Where it's like, well, you're a Gujarati. How can you marry someone South Indian? Or you're a Gujarati. How can you marry someone Punjabi? Like, it's like, we're all fucking the same. Like, it doesn't matter. But my mentality is very different. Yeah. But I would love for people to be on my mentality because it's like, you got to stand up for what you believe.
But it's true because, well, and ultimately, it's your life.
It's your life.
Right? You're the one who has to, you're the one who has to walk this out. You're the one that has to live this out. It's going, like, let's say if it went the full gamut, right, to marriage. You got that ring. And you're the one who's going to have to walk out that marriage. Yeah. You're the one who's going to have to live it. And I think that they don't think about it from that perspective. It's like, not to be rude, but like, mom, dad, like, you're going to kick the bucket at some point. Like, you're going to be dead. Like, so why am I going to base this decision off of what is, but also what makes sense to you? Right. And again, we're not talking about like you're in love with like, I don't know, like a Coke addict. Right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like,
he's totally
amazing. I love him. You just don't know him. Accept him. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just like, no, we are not of the same whatever. Yeah. Right. Like, but it's not going to hinder us in any way because ultimately our values
Are the
same, right? Which is, everyone knows, well, everyone should know, that values, right, before interests are what would, make a lasting relationship, marriage, whatever.
For sure.
So I don't know. It's just very interesting that they don't think about it from that perspective.
Well, they grew up differently. I think if you grew up here, you're much more open-minded.
Yes.
Like, my dad grew up in Pakistan. My mom was born in Africa. Like, my mom, don't get me wrong, she's very open-minded. But, like, certain things she's not.
Yeah.
And it's rightfully so. Like, I think we have an advantage of being from here and being around so many cultures and diversity, and especially in Southern California. Like, we're not like other states in America. We are a very diverse state.
Very diverse.
We are very open.
Melting pot.
Yeah, we are a very blue state. It's very different.
Right.
So it's hard for them to understand, but I think if the battle makes sense, it's worth fighting for.
Right.
And I think a lot of people in my community are afraid to fight for it.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you. We'll dive into this, but like,
It can be done.
It can be done, and it'll be okay.
It'll be all right. They will come to accept it. It'll be fine. No, I'm lucky because my parents are not, they're not jumping down my throat about marriage, and they, I'm sure that they would love to have more grandchildren. We have one in the family, my niece.
Better than none.
Better than none. One is better than none. Take what you can.
Yeah.
So I know that they would probably like more. And also just to kind of like see all of us, like quote unquote settled, or, and again, just the whole family, big family, and just kind of everything. But so again, charity experience, but different perspective but I grew up with, I remember even from a young age, my parents always saying like, I don't care who you marry, as long as he is of the same faith, right? Because because again, my faith is very important to me. It drives me. Like, that's honestly from which everything stems. So if that's not there, like, it ain't gonna work. Like, it just will not. Like, just guaranteed, it will not. And maybe it will work, but it's gonna be one hell of a ride. Like, it's just like, let's not go down that path. So. Very different perspective, very different situation.
Because I'm like, you're different, but our values are the same. We're good.
Yeah.
I'm open.
Yeah.
But I know you're not open.
Yeah, no, I'm not open.
I'm very open.
I'm not open. There's definitely some check boxes, or some boxes that need to be checked. But yeah, there's just certain things that I just won't. I guess maybe a standard, but just I can't, because honestly, and it's not because I have any hate or anything. Like, that is not it at all. I respect people, right? And again, I'm always of that mindset of like, even if we don't agree, like, we can agree to disagree, right? But like, even if you don't agree with somebody, you still need to respect them. You still need to respect who they are and that they are a fellow human being. So you don't get to be an asshole, right? But because I know that down the line, which maybe from like parents' perspective, like your parents' perspective, they think like, oh, well, I know what's going to happen down the line. But I know that down the line, it's just not going to work. Like, I know that when it comes to raising children, it's not going to work of like, well, in what faith do we raise them in? Yeah. And who, does what, and how are we going to talk to them about this? And like, to me, that's a huge problem, or it can become a very huge problem. So again, like how you're talking about standards and dating, right? Like, that's just, for me, that's one of them. It's just like, it's not going to work.
No, I get that. I think if you have two religious people in different faiths, it's not going to work. But I minus you and other people, I feel like our generation is less religious.
Yes.
And I think that's why the open-mindedness is there, in the sense where like, you can commingle two different religions,
right?
As long as both are not religious,
right? Yeah, like if you're not fully deep right into it, but if the values are there, right? Like if you know that you would raise your children the same, like you both like have the same viewpoint of, I don't know, again, like discipline, right? Or how your family is going to function. Yeah, definitely. But I think that's interesting that you say that, because I think that's the perspective from our parents and generations previous, is that because it was always very rooted in like in the religious aspect, right? So it's just like you had to have been of the same faith, or else it's just not going to work. So that's probably where their mindset is, of like, this is why it's not going to work. And it's like, okay, maybe not for you, but for me, we're not like super active in it. And it's more just like, can we, I guess, value wise meet, right? Like we're at the same level, which
I do think values, I mean, your perspective is a little bit different, but I think values weighs heavy. If you're on the way you're going to raise your kids, values and all of those things,
right,
you are going to be able to lead a successful marriage. But I think when the values are off,
all bets are off. Because it's not going to work. Like it is just not. Because honestly, like that is like truly the foundation of how you move forward, right? And again, like when kids come into play, but even if kids don't come into play, like if your values are not there, if they're not aligned.
No, it is. You have to be. I mean, me being the product of that, right? When me and my brother were born, it's like, well, what are we going to raise our kids as? Mm-hmm. And that was a big issue. So I feel like these are things you need to talk about before you dive in. But again, I feel like with our generation being more open-minded and less religious, it makes it a little bit easier. And I know it becomes hard for them to understand because they're set in their ways of like, everybody's like religious, everybody's like this way. And it's like, no, we're much more open-minded than you guys are.
Yeah.
Way more open-minded.
Yeah. I think everyone nowadays, and in our age group, is more concerned of like what you believe in as far as religious versus like, I would rather know if you go to therapy or not. Right? Like I honestly don't think that I don't think it comes into play anymore. I don't think it maybe even comes into a conversation anymore. Honestly, it's more so like do you go to therapy? Like, do you believe in like emotional maturity? Like, what's your attachment style?
No, it's so true.
What's your love language?
Even like the few dates I've been in since the last 4 months, it's like, I don't think I've ever asked somebody like, what's your religion? It's like more about how do you handle things? How do you like all these aspects? But like, I just assume everybody's like me. But I know I'm like an anomaly in situations where it's like you come from parents of two different religions, so you become like a nothing.
Yes. Yeah, because you're just like, well, I don't know, I'm here.
I was raised more Indian because I grew up with a single mom that was Indian. But like when it comes to religion, like, do I know more about Hinduism for sure? Right. But do I practice? No. So, no, it is different. It's different. They don't understand it's different, but it's different.
No, it is for sure. But that'll be an interesting topic to deep dive into, I think. And just even if it's not a religious difference, racial difference, right? Or maybe even like economic difference, right? Which like that's like the tried and true love story of like,
I mean, economics.
He's from the wrong side of the tracks, or she is, or whatever.
I mean, it's like you're basically Indian or Pakistani or one of these brown communities because economics is a big thing. You know, if I bring anybody to my mom, well, he's not like an engineer. He's not like a lawyer. He's not a doctor. And it doesn't make anything easier when your family is married to like professionals. Yeah. It's like, well, what is this? Whoever you're bringing, but. No, there's a lot of pressure regarding that. And it's
influencer?
What's an influencer? I mean, nowadays influencer usually means like you make no money. Right. But so I understand them being like, no. Right. But there's other jobs and other careers that do make decent and happy livings and that are not like
they're not the status quo.
They're not the
stereotypical, right? Like doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever, right? But I think that's definitely one that people face is economic, racial, for sure, religious. And then, just even, culturally, right? Like you're bringing home. I know that's a big thing, or it can be a big thing within the Latin community. And again, I am not someone who's dictated by my nationality or heritage or anything like that. So like, yes, there's some things there, but I don't operate just because I'm like, oh, I'm Latin, right? Like I'm Latina, like, oh, well then I have to be a certain way. That's never been me. And thankfully my parents have never kind of like fallen into that either. But I definitely think I'm sure people are affected by it and are dealing with it. And it's just kind of like, how do I navigate this? And which has got to be super tough. Like, and again, you know how that is. You know how it is to, right, to have to fight that battle, to fight the good fight, as it were.
And I'm someone who's willing to fight a good fight.
Fight a good fight. Fight a good fight.
If you need help fighting a fight, you know what to call.
No, I'm really excited to get into more of dating and culture, and specifically, I think your culture as well, because I don't think that there is kind of a lot of knowledge about it or understanding. I think that it's kind of maybe I don't want to say like unrepresented or underrepresented, but kind of maybe. I don't know.
No, yeah, people don't understand the pressure and everything we face.
Mm-hmm. And I think like pressure, different types of pressure too, right? Like how you were talking about earlier about like physical type pressure, right? To look a certain way, to be a certain way.
I mean, look in terms of even like your skin color. Like fair is more beautiful. And even like more onto that, it's like career.
Yeah.
Like, again, going back to why we started this, career changes. I'm someone who went through a gajillion career changes. So that is something we'll deep dive into.
That's right. Yeah. You had you had many hats.
Many hats. So we will deep dive into this in the future. And please send us emails, DMs, and what you would like to talk about, hear about. We would love to see your feedback. And, this is just episode 1. There's
episode 1.
There's
one of
many to come. Many to come.
We're excited about it. Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram, TikTok. We'll have our email listed as well. So you can reach out that way. But no, we're just going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. We'd love, again, like Hasana said, your input, right? Topics, questions, comments, concerns.
Everything will be anonymous.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Everything is anonymous. You do not have to.
Yeah, we will keep everything anonymous. But if you do want to reach out, feel free.
Please do. We love it. All 3 of you.
All 3 of you. 1, 2, or 3. Just reach out.
1, 2, or 3. Reach out. Anything. Feedback, as always. We would love to hear that. What we can do better. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. Right? We can do better in what we can improve, of course. But be kind, because this was episode 1.
We're learning.
We will, we'll get better as we go. But yeah, and we're looking forward to even having some friends on.
We have friends.
We have some good friends.
Which would, you think we're entertaining, which you might have not in this.
You might have been like, this is the worst podcast
I'm going to turn it off right now, but we've got some good friends. Yeah. So we have good perspectives.
Yes.
And we're excited for this journey. And
we are.
We want to give a big thank you to Caesar, our producer, for making this happen for us.
Caesar, the producer.
Caesar's great.
Fantastic.
But I'm so excited to see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. No, this has been really fun. We're really excited. But yeah, so we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you had a good time. Hopefully you had a couple of laughs. Maybe you laughed, you cried.
Whatever it may be.
We're glad you still listened all the way through, if you're still here. Again, all 3 of you. No, we're super excited to be here, and we're super excited to see what's to come. So until next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.